In 1959, NASA engineers created a metallized film that reflects 97% of radiant heat, built to survive 500-degree swings in space. Government labs later proved it could cut home AC costs up to 70%. Then in 1991, it vanished from building education, a $30 fix threatening a $60 billion industry. The story of why they stopped teaching it begins with 93% of the heat already inside your attic. The summer of 1959 found NASA engineers facing a problem that bordered on the impossible. Spacecraft, whether orbiting Earth or heading for the Moon, had to survive temperature swings up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, an environment where ordinary insulation would simply fail. The solution came from a thin, almost weightless film, a plastic sheet coated with vapor-deposited aluminum, engineered to reflect 97% of all radiant heat. This wasn't just a laboratory claim. In the vacuum of space, where the sunlit side of a spacecraft could roast at 260 degrees Fahrenheit and the shadowed side freeze in minutes, failure meant disaster. The film's origins trace back to the Metallized Products Division of National Research Corporation and NRG Equipment Corporation, with MP Hanalika describing its properties as early as 1959. Every NASA mission that followed, Gemini, Apollo, Skylab, depended on this technology. When Skylab's thermal shield ripped away in 1973, a 22 by 24-foot swath of aluminized mylar and nylon was deployed to save the station, instantly dropping internal temperatures from a life-threatening 130 degrees. The engineering pedigree of this film was never in question. Its ability to reflect nearly all radiant energy made it the backbone of thermal protection in the most hostile environment known to science. For spacecraft, this foil was not an option. It was survival. The question that would come years later, as Harold Edgars would ask, was simple. If this thin, gleaming barrier could shield men and machines from the extremes of space, what could it do for the furnace-like attics baking above American homes? Attics across America turn into ovens each summer, pushing air conditioner runtimes to their limits and sending utility bills soaring. The real culprit isn't just hot air leaking in, but the relentless energy pouring down from the sun. Most people picture heat sneaking through the roof as a slow crawl, fiberglass insulation blocking the flow, inch by inch. But the numbers tell a different story. Scientific testing from the Department of Energy and Oak Ridge National Laboratory reveals that the vast majority of heat entering a roof during summer, up to 93%, arrives as radiant energy, not through conduction or convection. This means that nearly all the heat is delivered in the form of invisible infrared waves blasting through attic spaces long before traditional insulation can react. Fiberglass and cellulose are designed to slow down conduction, the transfer of heat from one solid to another. They're great at trapping air and resisting the steady creep of warmth in winter. But when the sun beats down, the roof's surface absorbs that energy and re-emits it as long-wave infrared radiation. This radiant heat doesn't care about R values. It passes right through the air gap above the insulation, raising attic temperatures to 140 degrees or more. The result? Air conditioners struggle to keep up, running for hours just to maintain comfort. DOE field studies have shown that adding a radiant barrier, essentially a thin layer of reflective foil, can slash attic heat gain by up to 40%, cool attics by 30 degrees, and cut AC runtime by as much as 40 to 70% in the hottest climates. Yet despite these numbers, most building codes and contractor training still center on fiberglass, leaving this NASA-derived solution as a barely mentioned afterthought. The question is, why would a technology proven to reflect 97% of radiant heat be sidelined when the stakes for homeowners are measured every month in dollars and degrees? Department of Energy engineers set out to test radiant barrier foil in real homes, not just in the lab. Their field trials stretched from the muggy Gulf Coast to the arid deserts of the Southwest, measuring attic temperatures and cooling loads under the punishing summer sun. Crews installed reflective foil stapled to rafters and tracked the results against attics insulated only with fiberglass. The data left little room for debate. In the hottest climates, attics with radiant barriers ran up to 20 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than those without. Air conditioning systems cycled less often, with measured reductions in cooling runtime averaging 15% and in some cases, climbing higher. DOE teams used temperature sensors, watt-hour meters, and logging equipment to capture every change, ensuring the numbers reflected real-world conditions, not theoretical models. The results were peer-reviewed and published, confirming that the addition of a lightweight NASA-derived foil could deliver measurable relief from attic heat and cut electricity demand during the most expensive months of the year. Independent laboratory testing left little room for skepticism. In 1984, researchers at the Florida Solar Energy Center subjected radiant barrier foil to side-by-side trials with standard attic insulation. Their controlled experiments found that stapling reflective foil beneath roof rafters dropped attic air temperatures by an average of 23 degrees Fahrenheit, while indoor humidity fell by 18%. These results weren't isolated. In 1990, the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, a federal research powerhouse, confirmed the findings in a series of peer-reviewed studies. Their data showed attic temperatures plummeting by 25 degrees and relative humidity falling by 20% when radiant barriers were installed. Unlike industry-funded demonstrations, these tests relied on climate chambers and full-scale attic mock-ups, ruling out confounding factors. Scientists from both FSEC and Oak Ridge published their results in technical journals, making their data open to scrutiny. The numbers spoke for themselves. Radiant barrier foil didn't just outperform extra fiberglass, it changed the entire heat profile of the attic. For researchers, the evidence was now a matter of record, not debate. In 1988, the story left the laboratory and entered the real world. A Texas distributor, seeing the results from DOE and Florida Solar Energy Center tests, began supplying radiant barrier foil directly to home builders across the Sun Belt. Builders in Texas, Florida, Arizona, and Georgia quickly added the reflective barrier to their specifications, targeting new construction in neighborhoods where summer cooling costs were highest. Homeowners noticed the difference almost immediately. Reports from these early installations showed attic temperatures dropping by as much as 25 degrees, with air conditioning systems running 10 to 15% less during the hottest months. In homes where the foil was installed, monthly electricity bills reflected the change, shrinking by double digits compared to similar houses without the barrier. Unlike expensive spray foam or thick new bats of fiberglass, the foil cost just a fraction, often under $60 for a typical attic. By the end of the first summer, word spread through builder networks and regional trade shows. The Sunbelt rollout proved that a thin, NASA-inspired film could deliver real savings on a scale that mattered to families and builders alike, setting up a collision with the entrenched economics of the insulation industry. Owens Corning, Johns Manville, and CertainTeed stand at the heart of the North American insulation market, generating $10 billion each year from fiberglass sales alone. Their business depends on a cycle of recurring purchases, rolls and bats that need replacing, upgrades, and constant promotion through contractor networks. A one-time installation of radiant barrier foil, costing as little as $60 for a typical attic, threatens this model at its core. Unlike fiberglass, which works by slowing conduction and trapping air, the foil reflects up to 97% of radiant heat before it ever enters the living space. For industry giants built on volume and repeat sales, A cheap, permanent fix is not just competition. It is a direct challenge to decades of revenue and market dominance. In 1991, a quiet revision swept through the most widely used building science guides. Radiant barrier foil, once detailed as a proven method for slashing attic heat and air conditioning costs, was abruptly downgraded. Editors labeled it an obsolete technique in the official revision log, stripping away installation instructions and moving any mention to a supplemental note, no longer part of core guidance. The change wasn't explained. For homeowners and contractors searching for the NASA-derived solution that reflected 97% of radiant heat, the trail suddenly ended. What had been a documented, affordable path to cooler homes became a footnote, lost in the margins. Mike in Phoenix spent just $54 on a roll of radiant barrier foil and a staple gun. After a single afternoon in his attic, his peak temperature dropped from 138 degrees to 104 degrees. His air conditioner ran 60% less, and his July bill fell by $187. For the price of dinner out, he bought back his summer comfort. Today, a NASA-born material that reflects 97% of radiant heat is barely a footnote in home building guides, despite data showing it can slash AC costs by up to 70%. As energy bills climb, homeowners are left wondering, why was a $30 fix sidelined? Some answers demand sunlight. Share your thoughts below.